There is a question that Oliver Kahn asked this week that FIFA cannot answer. Not because the answer is complicated, but because the answer is devastating. He asked it sarcastically. He asked it with the controlled fury of a man who spent his entire career inside the rules of football, and who watched something happen at this World Cup that he said had no precedent in the history of the game. He asked if FIFA can cancel a red card that was shown during a match and overturn the suspension that came with it, then why not go back to 2002 and cancel Michael Ballack's yellow card? Because if they can do what they did to Fuller and Balogun, they can do anything. That question is sitting in the middle of this World Cup right now like a grenade that nobody in FIFA's communications team knows how to defuse. And it arrived from one of the most credible voices in football. Not a pundit, not a social media account. Oliver Kahn, the only goalkeeper in the history of the World Cup to win the Golden Ball. A man who was there in 2002 when the tournament's rules decided Germany's fate. A man who knows better than almost anyone alive what it feels like when football's regulations shape the biggest moments of your career and your country's history. So what exactly happened here? And why is this controversy the one that might define how this World Cup is remembered off the pitch? Let's start at the beginning. The United States played Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32. It was a match that carried enormous significance for the host nation, their first knockout round appearance at a World Cup on home soil. The game itself was dramatic, tense, exactly the kind of match that generates the type of incidents that VAR was designed to resolve clearly. Fuller and Balogun, the American striker, received a red card during the match. It was reviewed. It was confirmed. Under the rules of the tournament, a straight red card in a knockout match carries an automatic one-match suspension. Balogun would miss the round of 16. The United States would face Belgium without him. That was a decision. That was the rule. That was what happened on the pitch. And then FIFA overturned it. The organization's disciplinary process reviewed the red card after the match and decided it had been incorrectly shown. The suspension was lifted. Balogun was cleared to play against Belgium. A red card that had been reviewed by VAR in real time, confirmed by the on-field referee, and accepted as part of the result of the match was retroactively reversed. Belgium's head coach heard the news and asked out loud whether it was April Fool's Day. He said this had never happened before in the history of the World Cup, that a red card shown and confirmed during a match had simply been removed after the fact, so that a player from the host nation could play in the next round. He was not subtle about what he was implying. The host nation, the player, the timing, the reversal. FIFA's president addressed it directly and said something that immediately generated its own controversy. He said he had received the call from a prominent political figure about the situation, and then, as if recognizing that saying this out loud might generate exactly the wrong reaction, he added that FIFA's judicial bodies are independent. He received the call, and then FIFA overturned the red card. And then he said the judicial bodies are independent. That sequence of events is what Oliver Kahn responded to, and his response was measured, precise, and surgical in the way that only someone with complete authority on the subject can manage. He said the decision was rewriting history. He said that if FIFA could go back and undo a yellow card that changed the course of a World Cup knockout match, then Germany should be demanding the reinstatement of Michael Ballack's booking from 2002. Because what happened to Ballack changed Germany's World Cup final. It changed Oliver Kahn's World Cup final. It changed the outcome of one of the most important matches in the history of German football. And nobody reversed it. Nobody called anyone. Nobody decided after the fact that it had been incorrectly applied. The 2002 World Cup semifinal, Germany against South Korea in Seoul, one of the most controversial matches in the tournament, history, surrounded by refereeing decisions that generated accusations and counter-accusations that lasted years. Michael Ballack, Germany's most important outfield player and the engine of everything their team did, scored the goal that sent Germany to the final. And in scoring it, having already been booked earlier in the match, he received a second yellow card for a professional foul. Ballack would miss the final. The player who had dragged Germany to the tournament's last game, who had been irreplaceable across the entire knockout campaign, would sit in the stands and watch Oliver Kahn and his teammates face Brazil without him. Germany lost 2-0. Kahn made a mistake on Brazil's first goal, fumbling a rebound to Ronaldo. He said afterwards he refused to blame his injury, a torn ligament in his finger that he played with throughout the final. He took responsibility. He stood in his goal at the final whistle, alone, and accepted what had happened.
That yellow card, that suspension, that absence shaped the 2002 World Cup final. And not once did anyone suggest it should be reversed. Not once did FIFA's disciplinary process reconvene to determine whether Ballack's booking had been correctly applied. The rules were the rules. The tournament moved forward. The result stood. That is the 2002 reminder that Kahn delivered to FIFA this week, and it lands with the full weight of personal experience behind it. The Belgium coach's reaction added another layer to the story. He said that a red card reversal of this nature had never happened before in World Cup history. He wasn't expressing frustration casually. He was stating a fact. In the entire history of the tournament, across more than 90 years of World Cup football, this kind of reversal, a red card shown and confirmed during a match, reviewed by VAR in real time and then retrospectively canceled before the next round, had not happened before. That makes what FIFA did genuinely unprecedented. And unprecedented decisions at World Cups either become remembered as acts of bold and necessary justice, or they become remembered as the moment when the integrity of the process was visibly compromised. Which category this falls into depends entirely on your perspective. FIFA's argument is that their disciplinary process is designed to correct errors, and that if a red card was incorrectly given, it is right to reverse it regardless of the timing. The rule about VAR review and on-field confirmation exists to get decisions right in the moment. If that process fails, a post-match review should be able to correct it. That argument is coherent in isolation. The problem is the context it sits inside. The player is from the host nation. The reversal happened before a knockout round match against the European side. The president of the organization acknowledged receiving a call from a prominent political figure before the decision was communicated. And the precedent it sets, the idea that red card decisions made and confirmed during matches can be reversed in the days between rounds, raises questions about what other decisions might be revisited, and under what circumstances, and at whose request. Kahn's 2002 reference was not accidental. It was chosen because Ballack's yellow card is the most famous booking in German World Cup history. It is the booking that shaped a final, and it was never reversed, because reversing it would have been unthinkable. The rules applied. The match happened. The result stood. If the same logic had been applied in 2026, Balogun serves his suspension. Belgium faces the United States without one of their key concerns, and the quarterfinal bracket takes its natural shape. Instead, Belgium won the match 4-1. The hosts were eliminated regardless. Balogun played and was unable to change the outcome. In the immediate sporting sense, the reversal didn't even affect the result it was designed to influence. The United States went home anyway. But that almost makes it worse, because the integrity question doesn't disappear when the result goes against the team that benefited from the decision. It remains. It sits in the record. It becomes the reference point that every future disciplinary decision at a World Cup will be measured against. The Belgium coach said this had never happened before in World Cup history. Oliver Kahn said it was rewriting history. And FIFA's president said the judicial bodies are independent, while also mentioning he'd received the call from a prominent political figure. All three of those statements are now part of the record of the 2026 World Cup, and the football world is going to be navigating the implications of what they mean long after the trophy has been lifted in New Jersey on July 19th. What makes Kahn's intervention specifically significant is the source of his authority on this subject. He is not a general commentator. He was there.
He was the goalkeeper who stood in his goal for 90 minutes of a World Cup final, knowing that the player who should have been next to him in the lineup was sitting in the stands because of a yellow card that nobody reversed. He knows exactly what it feels like when the rules of the tournament determine your fate, and there is no appeal, no review board, no call from anyone that changes what happened. He earned the right to ask that question, and FIFA has not answered it. The tournament continues. The quarterfinals arrive with Spain facing Belgium and several other heavyweight matchups scheduled across the next week. The football on the pitch remains extraordinary. The goals, the tactics, the individual performances, the stories that only a World Cup can generate are all still happening. But the Balogun decision and Oliver Kahn's response to it have done something that very few off-pitch controversies manage to do at a tournament this size. They've made people question whether the results they're watching are being decided only on the pitch. And once that question is in the room, it doesn't leave easily. What do you think? Was FIFA right to overturn Balogun's red card if they genuinely believed it was incorrectly applied? Or does the timing and the context make the decision impossible to defend regardless of the technical reasoning? And should Kahn's 2002 reference force FIFA to establish a clear, public standard for when post-match disciplinary reversals are and aren't permitted? Let us know in the comments, like and subscribe for complete quarterfinal World Cup coverage, and share this with any football fan who thinks the most important decisions at this tournament are only being made on the pitch.